Okay, welcome back. So in this section here, I'll be showing you guys how to fill in the areas in between the bugle beads and all these blank areas, basically, like so. So that has that, and that has a black and teal. Actually, it's emerald green, and that goes into teal and the fire colors here, but does have a different color section into it. It's a lot easier to do this kind of fill instead of doing something such as this one has multiple ones, because then you kind of get into spacing issues and make sure everything's the same. Because if you do too much where it's all the way across like this, where there's a bunch of them, more than you gotta worry about spacing all the way through, and if it beats too big one section, then it can throw everything out because everything's kind of pushing on each other. So you want to make sure your beads are roughly the same going all around in each section. So what's on here, this one does have 4, 4, 3, then goes into 2, so you want to do just by row, you're going one row around, the next row around, then the next row around. So that's how we're going to do this. We're going to start doing one row, and then next row and next row, kind of stepping down into, just like you're working from the outside in, and doing like that. Where you don't add too many beads. So here, this one has 3 beads, 3 beads, 2 beads, and 2 beads. But the color transitions down, so it does take off 1 bead at a time and add 1 new bead. So it does have the gold, maroon, red, then it starts with maroon, red, and dark orange, red, then light orange, second dark orange. I don't want 2 colors the same. And then light orange and yellow. So it gives that transition, so it's easy on the eyes. So anyways, so how I start that is I start with one section. So here I'm starting adding the 3 beads because it fits there perfectly. You could fit 4, but 3 fits in there quite well. It does have a little spacing in between it. So just put where we can there, at least give it some wiggle room for the bead to move around. And bead at an angle into it, so your needle goes underneath it. Don't try to bead straight down, because then it'll kind of push your beads outwards, away from your bungle bead. And just get your secondary needle and tack it where you believe you want it to be. So if it's pushing one part, so these 3 beads here, so if it's too far on one side, or if it's not close enough on another, you can attach your needle in that one area and push the bead whichever direction you need, or pull the bead whatever direction you need. Like I said, there's every 2 beads I tack down, but if it's necessary to do every bead, then you can do every bead. But I don't find it necessary in this. So I'm just going to mirror the design here. I'm going to add a red, maroon, and gold in this section. And I'm kind of going like halfway, half the bead. I'm not going up high where it's up here, because then it's going to kind of pull the bead's angle. If I'm not going too low where it's down here, where I'm going to have a space on the top. So you want to give it like roughly the middle section of the bead area, over the bead basically. You pull it and it lines it up, so you see the bead. So it's roughly in the middle there. Now it's where I want to keep my needle when I start and stop. And here I'm just tacking down with my secondary needle, making sure everything's secured and good, filling it, making sure everything's flat as I go along. So this next section here is just a big fill section I can do with 2 needle. I'm not worried about the exact fill of, or the exact amount of beads that go in that area, just because I can take off beads and add beads if I need to. So it did kind of twist on me, so I don't really pull it through hard as I'm going along. I kind of just gently pull the needle through, because sometimes the thread does get a little twisted and it can knot on itself, and I don't want to deal with the headache of re-threading and trying to tack the beads down with a small piece of thread. So here I a bit too much, but it don't matter because, like I said, if I add too much, I can take it off and fit the space perfectly. So like always, I do start with the first bead and tack it down and just go along with every 2 beads afterwards. My thread is getting quite small, so just go around and go around. Kind of make sure the beads follow the curvature of the top as well. There's always this bottom line here in the design where I can keep it on that line and keep the spacing similar as I go around. So here I'm getting close to where I need to end my bead, so it does give me space to pull off the extra beads if I need to. So I want put the needle in yet, just because I want to see how it feels as I get closer. Like I said, this needle and thread, I just tacking down does help push the beads forward more. So sometimes it does push it enough forward where you can take off an extra bead. But in this instance, it's just enough where it'll be flat. Sometimes you gotta take off one because you don't want to be pushing down that bead too much. So you see that it's kind of off center there. So I may want to kind of take one off so I can pull it back so it lines up straight. And so see that. So even though it said it was enough, I still need to take off one to keep that this lined up, this beetle here. Like I said, go at an angle and go in. Just so it's straight. So there is a little gap there, you can see. So with that, I'm not holding this one tight and just kind of have it loose here. And I'm rubbing the bead so it's kind of loose. And I'm just going to kind of tack this at an angle forward. So here, where the bead is, I'm going forward a little bit, kind of going at an angle. So when I pull it through and tacks, so see, it's riding halfway through the bead. Now I'm going to rub it forward, push these beads that way, and pop it in. So now it's pushing the bead against the bugle bead, bungle bead, can't say it right. And it makes it seem like it's tight. So here again, I want to repeat the steps. So you did it here, and gold, maroon, and red. 3 beads, slight angle, put it in, come back out, red, maroon, gold, and pop out, just like so. And then you just follow the next steps around again. And then the next color section you want to do, if you want to add takeaway bead, then you just take off 1 bead for that. So for our next row, it's just gonna switch down to go from a darker to a lighter. So that teal green will be in there. But I'll add that maroon section and then go around, just do the same thing around until you get to here. And then the color in, well, I guess doing colors like that is a little more difficult because you had to start and then figure out from, like I said, the sections. So from here to that line is the center of those two. Right. So from here to there, that's the center line. So if you want to do like a design section, just remember to do from here and stop, then flip the design and go across, where you don't want to be pushing the beads like that. You just want to have it start here and then start and go across. So start, stop for doing design, then flip the design around. The only reason that moves because it's right here. So if it was over here, I could push on it. So start your design, middle, stop it, and start it. Or I can do a small section to here, and then do a different design here, and then a different year. So just remember to flip your design exactly here in that section. So hopefully that helps with that section. So next section I'll do is this center section in my next video, because this is basically the same thing. These two rows are basically up here, 2 needle round and round, then getting that center design is a bit odd, but it looks nice. So we'll deal with that the next design, next vocal piece, or next video. Until then, hopefully that was informative, and thank you. Bye.